So, most people would tell you that scaling your Shopify store is actually about courage, but I would argue that it's actually about clarity. Let me explain what I mean. First off, my name is Joe Chavez, and you're in the right place if you want to grow your Shopify store that is currently doing over 5K a month. You want to grow it past $1 million a year. Now, that's all I talk about. And the reason I say that clarity is much more important than courage is because a lot of times people step into this world of Shopify and e-commerce and think that as long as I just grind it out hard enough, because they hear these stories from other Shopify store owners, then you'll just make it. And while that can be true, a lot of times it's because along the way of them grinding it out, they eventually got clear as to what they have to do to be successful. And if you decide to start your Shopify store journey and focus on being clear instead of just being courageous, you're going to see that you can go much further faster. In this video, I'm going to break down a couple mindset shifts, and I've made a presentation to walk you through what those are that will help you to go from just trying to grind it out to actually being clear and not really going so in depth and overthinking everything, but at least having a plan as to what success looks like, and if seeing if what you're even trying to do is possible in terms of growth, and being able to take a step back and change things if needed. My name is Joe, like I said, and I'm actually doing a one-on-one challenge for the next for 5 days. So I do these like 4 of these a week. They're currently being booked up, so you can go down below to find a time for me and you to sit down, and we can work one-on-one to see if your store has the ability to grow and scale. And if it doesn't, I can work with you to help you to figure out what it would take and do that in 1 week, working with you for about an hour a day. Go ahead and hit the application link below. It'll be me and you that hop on a 15-minute call to see if you're a good fit, because I don't want to waste your time and I'm sure you don't want to waste mine. And if you are a good fit, we'll get you booked in, and you'll take one of the slots to do a one-on-one 5-day challenge with me called the Predictable Shopify Profits Challenge. I look forward to seeing what you think of this video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions or if you want me to clarify anything. Always happy to do so. All right, peace.
All right, this video is going to be a break-even calculation masterclass for anyone who has a Shopify store. And if this is your first time here, all we do on this channel is talk about how to grow your store past your first $1 million on Shopify. And my name is Joe, and I will be walking you through it all. So my whole thing here is I want to help you to stop gambling with ad spend. I see this so often when Shopify store owners and I start working together, or they're looking for me to help coach them in their store. They don't fully understand the key numbers that they need to know in order to stop gambling. So their best bet is to hope for the best and gamble on somebody who is either an agency that promises them they can do something, or try it themselves. But typically I haven't seen either of those work out well. So my hope with this video is to help empower you as the store owner to be able to do the right thing so you can stop gambling and start breaking even and ultimately profiting and scaling. So most founders I've found operate on vibes. This is looking at ROAS without context, because realistically your ROAS can either be a 2 or it can be a 3. And if you change the pricing, that changes what ROAS matters. So like if you have a $100 product and then you have a ROAS of 2, you can actually increase the product, let's just say $50, and now have a ROAS of 3, and it makes sense, or a ROAS of 1, and it actually makes sense economically. So ROAS is really relative to the amount that you're charging and the cost of delivery of your product, which just means cost of goods sold plus shipping. So really that ends up being your gross margin of your first order. ROAS is relative to your gross margin of your first order. They kind of eyeball MER and hope they scale emotionally. I see this so often where a lot of store owners are like, hey, today we're going to just push, and if I'll look at the budgets tomorrow and I might pull them back, and then I'm going to push them. And while that makes you feel better, it's ultimately not getting you to where you need to be. or they cut ads prematurely out of fear that they're losing money, fear that it's going to get creative fatigue, or there's just so many thoughts that go through our heads as human beings. I remember having a media buyer tell me, like, humans are just bags of emotion and we need to just trust the algorithm. Now, I don't think fully you have to trust the algorithm and just put your creative into the machine and let it go. Like, you have to have some thought and some foresight and some strategy as to why you're doing what you're doing. But ultimately, the video here is going to remove that fear. So, I want you to be able to know exactly how much you can afford to acquire a customer. I want you to understand how much pressure your margins can handle and make decisions with confidence, not guesswork. Without this number, it truly looks like and feels like you're building on quicksand. And what I mean is I've seen it look like this when I've worked with people, and I have felt this feeling personally trying to grow a store. And it feels like you're on quicksand. It just feels like you kind of start blaming like the algorithm and platforms and all these external factors, the market, when really you just didn't have a strong grasp on your numbers. Now, I will say too, I do a free one-on-one, basically like a workshop for 1 week. I call it the Predictable Profits Challenge, where Shopify store owners who are already doing 5K a month on Shopify can work with me to qualify for this challenge. And at the end of the 5 days, you're going to know how much you can spend to acquire a customer. And that's kind of the first thing we look at. Making sure that you're clear on how that works. I give you my playbook as well. And it's just a great way for you as a Shopify store owner to have a clear, actionable plan if you're really looking to scale your store in 2026 and beyond. So go ahead and hit the link down below. Doublemyecommerce.com/challenge is the URL. If you're listening to this and I'm in your headphones, that's doublemyecommerce.com/challenge. And that's a way for you to apply. Me and you will hop on a quick call, make sure that you're a good fit. And if you are, we'll work together for free for 5 days for about an hour a day to unlock more predictable, profitable growth within your Shopify store. So let's go ahead and get back to it though. So there's 3 types of breakdown behind that every brand must know. There's COGS breakdown. This is the room between the retail price or price you have on your site and product cost and shipping before ad spend. So showing if your pricing is viable. This is understanding, say you have a $100 product and it costs you $40 to make it and $10 to ship it. Well, that's $50 cost of delivery and then $100 on the product. And that's basically going to lead to your contribution margin. So this includes product cost, packaging, fulfillment, shipping, and discounts. And this is the real margin for customer acquisition. So what this is basically saying is this is how much you can spend to get a customer, is everything after the price minus product cost, packaging, fulfillment, and shipping. And fulfillment is basically pick and pack fees or storage fees, and then shipping and discounts. So a lot of people don't think about the offer. They don't consider that as being part of the equation. And it's really important because without doing that, you don't actually understand your real margin for acquisition. And lastly is going to be the CAC payback breakdown. This is how long it takes until a customer becomes profitable. This determines how aggressively you can scale. Meaning if, let's say, your contribution margin is $50 and on first order you make $30, you spend $60 to get a customer. Well, then you have $10 you need to make up in CAC payback because you spent $10 over. Now, ideally, I want us to be first order profitable. That's really where we want to get to with any brand. And if we're not there, then let's do the things necessary now to do that. Because 1, it's easier to understand and see. 2, because tracking CAC payback can be difficult. But 2, it's going to allow you to be able to truly scale in a way that is like complements paid ad channels. So if you're breaking even on first order and you can put more money in now, that just makes more sense to keep scaling as you're growing. Now, understanding these 3 levels stops that blind decision making and reveals exactly what's killing your margin. Which leads us to the complete breakdown formula. Now, we want to calculate all-in costs. So this is product cost, packaging, shipping, merchant fees, which is usually the 2.9%, fulfillment, discounts, refunds, all of that. If you want this worksheet, go ahead and hit down below the doublemyecommerce.com/challenge. When you apply to work with me for 5 days for free, I also will give you my playbook, which has a worksheet where we do this unit economic calculation. So number one is calculating total all-in costs. Number two is subtracting from AOV. So this gives you, and that just means subtract from the first order average order value. This helps you understand your true profit per sale. Then you can understand your ad spend allowance, which is your contribution margin. If you spend more, you profit less of this contribution margin. You spend less, you profit more. And then you can layer in repeat value. So if the average subscriber, let's say you're doing subscription, is worth $60 over 90 days, your break even changes completely. You can actually then acquire slightly as a loss. Say you're able to, your average subscriber is worth $60 over 90 days and your contribution margin is, say, $30 on the first order. Well, then you can say, hey, I actually am going to go up to 40 and push harder and be able to lose $10 on the first order, but I know I'm going to make up, another 30 on the next order. And on my subscription store that I run, that's not how I do it. I actually want to be first order profitable and do everything we can. And then I know every order after that is profitable. But because I'm growing to a certain level and then I'm stopping the growth at 1,000 members. But if you're looking to kind of scale your store in the millions, like, let me grow past 1 million and then kind of keep scaling from there, you may be okay with losing some money on the front end there. And so that's why subscription brands scale smoother. Ultimately, they have a flexible breakdown, meaning like they can acquire customers even at a slight loss and break even, because 60-day value or 30-day or 60-day, it covers initial costs. Now, sometimes you'll have a quarterly subscription like mine, which is 90 days. 90-day payback periods is what we're looking at. But I break even on the first order, and then everything after that is just pure profit. And this can have a shorter path to profitability, which means less cash constraint and more room to scale aggressively. So I really always push this whenever I do this 5-day challenge with people is stop chasing ROAS and start engineering predictable profit, because it changes the way that you market forever. So let's talk about the break-even scaling framework. This is where you set your non-negotiable target. Like, here's your ceiling for your CAC. You want to then check in weekly, not monthly. So AOV shifts, shipping shifts, discount shift, even $5 changes break your model. You want to understand, what is your cost of delivery? What is the percentage of revenue you're spending on ads, which is an MER percentage, and you want to look at that as new customer revenue as a percentage, and ads against a new percentage of, or against the new customer revenue as a percentage. So if you spend $100 on ads and you make $1,000 in new customer revenue, that's a 10% AMER. Now let's say you have you made another 1,000 on returning customer revenue, or you have subscribers, so you had 2,000 and you spent 1,000 on ads. Well, then that's only 5% MER. So you want to really look at AMER, because that's going to be more congruent to your cash conversion cycles. And next is going to be building stronger offers. So this is where once you understand your numbers, then you can build offers that solve those problems. I always like to tell people offers are solutions to unit economic problems. And without understanding that, you don't know how or why the offer should be what it is, and you'll likely just copy an offer that somebody else has. Doesn't mean you can't steal from people and understand what are they doing and how can I change my offer. Like, that's good, but only once you understand your own numbers to a very scary, alarming level. And next is going to be so you can scale ads with confidence. Once you understand and your offer is dialed in, that's really the secret to not losing money and being able to scale your advertising. Now, once you master your cash flow, you understand payback window equals financial calm. And when you have a 30-day payback window, you can aggressively scale. When you have 60-day payback, you can moderately pace growth. And then 90-day payback is you have to be very conservative and really consider what you're doing in your marketing there. So if this has been helpful for you, let me know in the comments. Hopefully my goal is that you go from emotional spending, premature cuts, blind scaling to constant fear, constant worry, checking your ad account, all that type of stuff, to clean decisions, growing your margins, obvious strategy, and creative confidence. And this is how you go from fear to clarity when it comes to acquisition marketing for your Shopify store. Because at the end of the day, break even isn't about math. It's actually about freedom. And cleaner decision making means yes or no, here's how we should do things. You can then delegate to the team, and the team knows what they need to be doing. You're able to grow your margins, and then it's so obvious to see like why subscription needs to be part of your business. And if you're unsure about how to kind of proceed from here, please go ahead. If you're already doing 5K a month on Shopify and you're looking to grow your store past $1 million a year, or if you're already past that $1 million mark and you're looking to work for free with me for 5 days, where we will uncover areas where your store is leaking profit. We'll work one-on-one for those 5 days to look at unit economics. We'll create your 45-second story, which takes people from unaware all the way to deal ready in 45 seconds so that you can have all your messaging dialed in from there. We could even make a custom GPT based on that, so that way you can have it right in your copy. And also, let's build out your 90-day P&L, just so you can have a clear understanding of what should be happening in your business, so you can lead your current agency or current team or whoever you're working with to do better work. And to apply for that, just go to doublemyecommerce.com/challenge or hit the link down below, and we'll hop on a free 15-minute call to see if it's a good fit. And if it is, we'll go ahead and book you in for the 5-day challenge and go from there. And I look forward to working with you in your store. And feel free to bring your team along as well if that's helpful. Thanks again for letting me kind of teach you a little bit about Breakeven Masterclass and really like walk you through what I see holds a lot of Shopify stores back. Oh, and once again, my name is Joe Chavez. This is where we double revenue so that you can ultimately break your first $1 million a year on Shopify. And hey, don't forget to work to live. All right, peace.